Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Uconomy. We're still on the air for some reason, so we really appreciate
Three
you.
of you,
Back.
we appreciate you.
Appreciate
You three.
Three people in, I think it's, they're in Mississippi. Thanks a lot, Mississippi, for tuning in. But listen, today we're actually, we're at an interesting show and an interesting guest for you today because we're talking about education. And you know, that's something that obviously, Nunzio is a adjunct professor, and I just graduated college, and so we're big fans. So we want to talk a little bit about this economic aspect.
Yeah, love me some schooling.
What it really means. And you know, I've been reading a lot of blogs. I know you do a lot of research. People saying, well, you know, is a college degree worth it? Some people say no, it's not. Other people say yes, it is. I'm of the thought process that this is information. This is everything you could possibly know. This little dot right in the middle. So you need as much help as you can in this world to get by, and that comes to education. A lot of it is, you know, you could learn as doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people do, but you still need the. It always goes back to basics. How do you run a business?
Right.
How do you make a business plan and things like that? So that is kind of why we're talking about today, and really kind of bring out the focus that education is important, but sometimes you can go a little overboard with it.
Right.
You know, and maybe you talk a little bit about our personal credential inflation.
Oh, credential inflation. We've all kind of seen it. Maybe we've all been a little guilty of it, but as jobs become more competitive, there's a bit more of an incentive for us to kind of fluff or pad our resumes. So whether that's through experience that we might have exaggerated, or just trying to go back for a program or certificate or even a degree because you believe that it's going to further your career progress, but isn't always the case.
No, it's timing, and it's also the career that you're going after. I mean, right now there are nearly 2 in 25 people aged 25 and over have a master's degree. Now, this is the same proportion that had bachelor's in 1960s. So, you know, a lot of years ago when I was doing a job search, it says bachelor's required. Bachelor's required. Now it's almost saying, well, your master's is required. And with the amount of, my education, I got to sell blood for the next 15 years just to pay off my student loan debt. So, I can't even fathom going back for a master's or PhD because I'd have to start giving bone marrow. So I don't even know what to do.
Well, a caveat to that, though, is as technology advances, as the economy continues to grow, there's always going to be a need for more and more specialized people to fill specialized roles. Okay, so that's where an education can be a crucial tool for you, and that can differentiate you from the crowd. So those bachelors, accepted, masters preferred, might those be in more specialized or tech savvy or technically required positions, medical fields, or your architects and your engineers.
Indeed, there are programs that are coming up, and there's a specific type of degree they're talking about calling a professional science master's, or a PSM. What it really does is it combines job-specific training with business skills. So it's an interesting kind of take on it. And right now, these have really blossomed. There's over 239 programs nationwide. And one of the interesting things I saw about it was they actually had a master's degree for supply chain management. And it was, it really, when you look at supply chain management, it's the basics over and over again.
Right.
In my sleep, I could tell you. But now, they're looking for people that have a specific master's degree in that. And now, is that too much, or is that overkill or not? Do you really need that specialized?
Well,
you pay for it? That's the other part of it. You got to pay for this.
If you're personally, right now, speaking for all three of you in the audience, they're actually watching
from Mississippi,
or anywhere. This becomes colleges and universities and institutions of higher education are businesses, right? So you kind of take both with almost a grain of salt, because if you're a business, what's the next product that you're going to launch to capture a different market segment or to focus on a niche? But if you're somebody who's looking for a better career, you need that advanced degree, right? So it's kind of like you're straddling a double-edged blade almost. You have to find the best value for your dollar in what specific career you're in.
Indeed. You're going to want to pay attention to the interview we have coming up next, because we talk with Jeff Gordon, who runs iwantaneducation.com, and he gives you some pretty good resources about how to do some research to understand if you're getting into the right college, and how to pick a program that's going to help you make money.
Bam, one take.
Awesome. Well, we've been talking a lot about education this episode, and we're going to continue our conversation with Jeff Gordon. He's the founder of Interactive 99 and the website iwantaneducation.com. So who better to have on to talk about education in America and what it really means to our bottom line. But we're gonna, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I have been in the online marketing space for 11 years now. Started my career as a recruiter, looking for talent, seeking good talent for companies that were looking to bring these people on. Quite often, talent was actually seeking me out more often than I was seeking them out. After about 4 years, I had segued entirely to online marketing and spent 100% of my time building traffic for online businesses and specializing in affiliate marketing, SEO, SEM, social media, and business development. Okay. Earlier in the year, I had started Interactive 99, which is a full-service online marketing agency. And we specialize in helping businesses obtain leads, sales, clicks, whatever it is they're looking for to expand their online business. We also run iwantaneducation.com, and that is a blog that is geared for people looking to expand what they're working on and better their lives and look for more education and a better way to essentially gain salary.
Indeed, we've heard a lot about the debt crisis and all these things like that, and that's kind of our challenge right now. And I mean, Ninja, you might be better to talk about some of this stuff too with economics, but people are wondering, what is an education all about?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously today's topic is clearly about the importance of education. So, Jeff, do you think you could tell us a little bit about what you believe the value of education is in America with respects to, job prospects, career stability, and even the different levels of an education, so bachelor's, master's, PhD?
Sure. Well, I'm a firm believer in education. I've been raised to believe that education does lead to the path of happiness. I still believe in that, and I still believe that a good career is founded upon solid education. And I mean, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you look at the unemployment rate. In 2010, the average unemployment rate was 8.5%. If you look at the delta between the unemployment rate between a high school dropout and a recipient of a PhD, there was an 87% variance.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy. I mean, that paints a good picture of staying in school.
Definitely. I think staying in school is going to be very, very important to you. Very important specifically as the economy worsens. Definitely something that I recommend for everybody.
Just a quick follow-up. I mean, we talk about the disparity between, unemployment. But what are the earning potentials for people that are, for different degrees? Like, what does a dropout earn versus, let's say, someone with a bachelor's?
Right. So take a high school dropout, look at their career. They're earning no more than $500 a week, and that's barely sufficient to support themselves, let alone a family, particularly in an urban center. If you really want to judge based on quality of life, you look at a college dropout versus a PhD, and you look at that salary differential. There's a 76% difference. PhD on average is going to be earning $1,500 to $2,000 a week.
And if we say in the high school dropout was going to be $500?
The big question is how a higher salary equates to happiness and peace of mind, and I believe there is a direct correlation.
Oh, indeed. I mean, when you can provide that kind of level of support and security for your family, it stands to reason that, hey, listen, I'm earning a better living, my family's living better, you live more, protected life in a sense. I mean, there's no ultimate protection, but, hey, listen, every little bit helps.
But then on the other hand, a lot of people make the argument about college being expensive and being worth the investment. So that really becomes a personal decision.
Oh, absolutely.
Based on your current situation. Any thoughts on that, Jeff?
Absolutely. If you look at looking at the value of college being worth the investment of time and money, public schools right now, are averaging about $20,000 to $25,000. Some students are walking away with a $25,000, student loan debt by graduation day. If you look at the Ivy League schools, it's even higher. You're looking at $120,000 to $250,000 in college debt. But the good news is that students right now are earning even more. Right now, in terms of salaries first year out of college, we're up 5% from 2010. Students can earn potentially, $50,000 on average first year out of school. Versus, again, looking back at people who are unemployed or people that have not received a higher education, they're earning a lot less than that.
Wow. So college definitely worth it. It sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like definitely something to consider. And there's a lot of resources out there. Obviously, your website, iwantaneducation.com. I got it right?
That's right.
All right. Always want to make sure. But what are some other good resources? Including your blog. What are some places where if you had to say, hey, listen, if you're considering going to college, these are my top 3 places where I would start looking at doing some research.
Sure. And first I have to caution regarding the research. Evaluations, for example, are tricky. A student really needs to be able to separate the subjective opinions from the objective opinions. There are going to be a lot of people complaining about their colleges, people who aren't happy with a specific professor, whatever it may be. Students really need to look at very specific attributes and how it relates to them. There are a lot of great free resources online. Princeton Review offers a wonderful resource for students really looking to evaluate colleges. There are some great blogs out there as well. And really talking to people, maybe getting offline and talking to your guidance counselor, and talking to friends who attend certain colleges that you're interested in, and delving into what specifically they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, that was my daughter. She's actually right now, she wants to go for criminology. And there's only a handful of universities that she's even considering because they have a very strong focus towards that. Right. So, it seems like that can help out a lot too. If you know what you want to do, it helps you get that focus. Whereas years ago, liberal arts, just go for liberal arts. Right. That you can go anywhere for that. But now it seems, that's something we talked about earlier in the show about very specific segmentation of education. So that's a good point too. Have conversations with people that are looking to, that and things like that as well.
And you can always talk to your local friendly adjunct professor as well.
Friendly adjunct professor as well. Well, listen, Jeff, why don't you tell people the blog again too, so they know where they can find you a little bit more. And if you're on Twitter or anything like that, feel free to give out that information for our viewers.
Great, thank you. Yeah, the blog is iwantaneducation.com. And let me just say again that we firmly believe that education is the path to success in this country. Right now, just on a final note, there are, the market is very supply and demand. There is an urgent need to fill technical positions in this country. We're in need of chemical engineers, computer engineers, computer science specialists, and in order to get those positions, you need an education. But they're willing to pay a lot of money out there for the right people.
That's awesome. Again, please visit Jeff's blog, find out a little bit more information, do your research, and Jeff, listen, thank you very much for coming on the show and giving us that information. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. That was a lot of great information. I know, especially when you talked about the Princeton Review, and there's some really good resources out there to get some understanding about education itself. But education just doesn't affect us, the regular folk. It affects businesses too. Us regular folk, but it affects businesses too.
Right. So you have that's that two-sided coin again. So you have the individual looking to further their career, and then you have the businesses that are looking to specialize or continue to offer better quality products and services. And you do that by investing in, that human cost of capital. Right.
It's a lot of people, they go back and forth on wages and so on. Like I know I do grant writing, and there is that above and beyond. People say, well, I make $30,000 a year. Well, it's even beyond it. It's like 17% more. When you factor in benefits and things like that.
Right.
As a business owner, you have to be really. It's not just about the salary. It's about the perks and really what that overall costs you. But that human cost of capital, it is important. Listen, my grandfather used to say the world needs ditch diggers too. Well, not anymore. because they need somebody to run those ditch digging machines.
Well,
So it's changed a little bit. But as a business owner, I think it's important, like you're saying, you have to look at that specialized. What is that going to mean for your business making that investment?
Well, not only that, it's that along with the specialization, it's the stability. It costs money when people quit or are fired and have to be replaced. So right now in a tight economy, as you have more people, in those unemployment lines that are looking to basically pick up any kind of job they can, they might be overqualified for it. Job offerers or businesses have to be careful about who they pick, because if you have a master's degree candidate who's working an overnight security job just because it was the only thing that they could find because they were so specialized, when the economy gets better and they find a job where it's appropriate for them to be, that business will lose them and it'll take time to hire and retrain. So that's resources and time.
Yeah, and that's, when you talk about the biggest expenses, those are huge expenses. I know when I worked at a bank years ago, we had a 6-week training program before we even did our job.
Yep.
So that's a huge line item for businesses. What else is businesses? Anything else businesses really got to pay attention to in this kind of arena? Or
I think now you're seeing more and more businesses actually cover the costs of education or subsidizing it, and it's along the same lines. If I'm a business and I'm looking for somebody to be in it with me for the long haul, I want them as specialized as possible. I want to invest in them because I want them to feel like they're a part of this community that we're creating together, that they'll work more happily, they'll be more efficient, and ultimately they'll help that business earn more. So it's a positive thing. It's expensive and it's an investment, and as long as you have the right candidates in the right spot, it can be very lucrative for a business.
Indeed, too. I've talked to some business owners. What they say is, listen, we'll help pay for education. However, you have to sign a contract to stay on for a year or something like that. So you can definitely do that. So you can keep that that knowledge that your employee is gaining, and also protecting your investment as well.
Yep. I know even financial services, a lot of places do the same thing. They'll train you for your licenses, but you have to stay with them, or if you leave, you have to cover the costs.
Oh, okay, but that's, if you go to sell Series 7, things like that.
So same thing with a master's degree now. So you're not just using them for their education and then costing that business more money to either retrain or resubsidize, and have them leave as well.
And let's be honest, you're making an investment an investment in your employees, so that investment will yield dividends for your company. So again, you want to structure these kind of agreements favorable to you as well. And by all means, you could always do some research online, or you can contact your attorney to see if they've, what kind of advice they can give you as to structuring these education programs. But the smarter your workforce, the better off you are. Well, I forget who said it, but I said you always want to surround yourself with people smarter than you are.
Yeah, no, and I think we're both in agreement that education is the way to do it. So it's definitely worth the investment of time and money from both the individual and the business's end.
All right. Listen, thanks again for tuning into Uconomy, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, thanks.